PC going on for everybody right now, whether or not you're in South Bend. Let's cut over and look at the standings so far. Actually, let's cut the standings. Let's go straight to the board. I had heard we were missing Will, but Will appeared out of nowhere and is ready to go. This is going to be a big matchup. Currently, Alec Sjoholm sits in second place at 10-4, one game behind leader Wasim Khatri of Pakistan. Will Anderson is at 9-5 right now, currently in seventh place. But at this point in the tournament, it's all about banking W's, win after win after win. Both of these players seek to enhance their win column number. Only one of them going to come out with a W here. A tough matchup for both of these gentlemen early on. Alec to play first, and we are underway here in South Bend.
Very exciting. Yeah, I mean, this is obviously two top talents, two former national champions, so a really exciting match to start the day. It's so early; it's hard to know kind of how the things are going to shake out. With four people at 10-4 right now, and one at 11-3.
So DINNORU, the opening rack for Alec. You see he set up round in, looking for that G, but of course when you're going first, you're never going to get the floater you're looking for. And outside of that, Alec's going to be forced to decide if he plays shorter or longer here. He set up Dayuran, which would be his highest scoring option out of this rack and the longest word he can make. That's 18, assuming he doubles the D. Undo is just 10 on this turn, but holds a more synergistic INR leave. But Alec opting to play long here. Mina, what do you think about this play?
This is great. Turns over tiles, puts the R and N next to the double letter squares so that you can't do big scoring overlaps. I think that's a perfectly good start here. And no three-letter front extensions either.
Well, the extension would be fun, yeah. But every letter you put out on the first turn is an opportunity for your opponent to get an 8 when they don't otherwise have a 7, and 2 of the different floaters exposed in Alec's opening play will provide bingos for Will here. No 7s on his rack of DEELOSY, but now 2 8s available for Will. I can't even tell you what they are because he's already playing his highest scoring option as Loined, 68 points, higher scoring than Yodelers through the R for 65. I think so far we're 2 for 2 on correct plays. What say you, Mina?
Yeah, that's as expected that he would find that very quickly, and it keeps the board wide open. And now Alec has his choice of blanket bingos. He's almost spoiled for choice. There's just so many lanes to look through here. What is your approach to what is your approach in a situation like this, Matt, where there's just the board is wide open, and there's just, sometimes when I have too many possibilities, I get paralyzed.
There are a lot of possibilities, and with a rack this good, this many different options for Alec, you just have to look at the line that's going to score the most points. In this case, there are 2 lines that would both score the most, either of the double opportunities. You can double through the I in Dayuran, through the L in S Loined, and there are words in both places. Words such as actioned or actioner or sonicate through the I, covalent or conflate through the L. So doubles aplenty here for Alec. They all score 86. So you figure out which one has hooks that you want to set up and go ahead and play that. Now, Will has an excellent knowledge of the words, and I don't think you can set any kind of trap playing a word with funky looking hooks. Not against Will, he's too good. So I would just play a word whose hooks I am 100% certain of and put it down. Pick a double and go. Yeah. Is there a preferred double you see here? Covalent, conflate, sonicate, or would you just kind of put one of them down and be happy to get almost 90 points?
Yeah, I think I would just put one of them down. Covalent, does that take an S? I think of it as an adjective in chemistry.
Yeah, that's what it seems like to me. See, this is why you wouldn't. Yeah, it is an adjective. Covalent does not take an S, but yeah, that's an example of one I would not play. Right. I'm not 100% sure it doesn't take the S. There's a good chance Will is. I'm not going to put myself in that disadvantageous situation. So
Yeah,
just like
exactly.
conflate, or well, then does conflate take an R? It probably
Oh
doesn't,
yeah, then
but
I
am I
wouldn't know
certain?
either.
Tricky
So much uncertainty. Yeah.
dilemma. The name is Scrabble, but here we come. The bingo for Alec. This is action E blank, so we'll try to figure out what that blank is. It could be an R, could be a D. It is D. All right. Thank you, Alec, MVP of the stream. God, players are getting better and better at playing on stream. We saw Zach Ansell over July 4th writing notes to us explaining what the overdraw was. And now we're getting players showing us their blank designation. I love it. Streaming is getting
Yeah.
better and better, and we're domesticating these players, training them to be great streamers.
Awesome.
All right. So back over to Will after he gets doubled. QRRXUY, and I think that's an E in the front. I'm having some bandwidth issues. Mina, can you see that
Yeah.
tile?
No, I'm stuck in this ad right now. Sorry.
Oh, yikes.
'Cause I hadn't been logged in.
Yeah.
I hadn't been logged in, and then I tried to chat, and it wasn't. So now I have to watch 11 more seconds of this ad before I can see anything. Sorry.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Okay. So it is an E on Will's rack. So this is going to give him an extremely high scoring play. Query 59 points in this spot for Will. And yet he had two other options that were 50 plus, just dropping XU to the right side of Esloind, or the wonderful Exequi, EXEQUY, from the E in Esloind was 50, holding RR. And as much fun as it'd be to play Exequi on stream, Query's the top option for Will. You can't take the flash. You have to take the points. Good decision from him.
There'll be opportunity.
HIINNOP, the rack now for Alec. He looks to respond. Will ahead 127 to 104, but this game is wide open. Anything could happen yet. I think we're going to see a parallel play from Alec. He just needs to decide if he's paralleling alongside Query or alongside Esloind. Hop plays to the left side of Query, holding the abysmal IINN combination, but that's 36 points. Hip plays to the right side of Esloind, making SHLI and OP. That keeps a better INNO leave, but opens a double-double possibility. Mina, do you like either of those plays, or would you be looking elsewhere completely here?
No, I think hip between those two, hip sounds much better to me. I mean, keeping two eyes, it sounds like suicide to me. And yeah, I'm not worried about opening the double as something that's necessarily going to happen when there's other things that, like, he could go from the Q to the triple word score at the top, or there's just so many other things that could happen right now that I'm not worried about opening a double. So I think for me, the priority with a rack like this is cleaning it up, unduplicating as much as possible.
Yeah, unduplicating, just trying to slog through and get out of this stuff. You've got to progress the game. You can't get caught up in a bunch of I's and N's, and especially in CSW, you can't have those turns where you score 12 or 14. If you are going to have a turn like that, it has to be one turn. You can't get caught up continuing to fight through the bad rack. It has to clean itself up. The scoring has to start again, especially against a player as strong as Will. You know he's going to score a lot of points. You've got to keep pace.
Yeah. Looks like he's spelling out hop on his rack, though. It could be painful.
Yeah, there are certain things that make IINN actually pretty palatable. Like a G definitely helps. Three unseen G still, and ING bingo, can happen often. An E makes it feel okay. Even an A kind of synergizes well. So you don't like seeing the duplicates, but it might not be as bad as it seems on its face. Running this through the engine now, IINN as a leave for Alec actually bingos 20% of the time next time.
Wow. Oh, that's much more than I would expect. Okay, cool.
The problem with a leave like that is it can still bingo often. It's not like you're keeping FGB or something, but when it doesn't bingo, your plays seem to be so low scoring afterwards. And so Alec foregoing that leave, he's going to sacrifice 5 points to keep the more balanced INNO. A quick simulation agrees with Alec's decision here. And I think Mina and I do as well. Any final thoughts on that one, Mina?
Yeah, no, I think definitely hip is the best way to go forward. It looks like that's what he wants to do, the way he has it set up.
So hip, the play from Alec puts him ahead 135, 127. Will has found the X in the bag, CIIORRX, the rack for him. And while Alec did set up enormous plays alongside hip to the right side, Will doesn't seem to have anything reasonable there. Will instead needs to decide if he wants to play off the X or sit on it. He has reasonable plays that do both. XERIC playing through the E and query up top, 34 points, holds IOR. That's the static equity play here, but RORIC plays the 5-letter word as a 3 overlap to the left side of query, making REOR and RYA. That's 32 and retains the X. Mina, would you be looking to unload the X and get back into bingo range? Or do you think a play like Rorik for 32 sets you up for better success next turn?
I think definitely on this board, given that there aren't other hotspots for the X that I see around like action or hip, I'd be readier to dump the X faster with the XERIC and keep IOR is a great leave. And yeah, I think I would just be trying to get rid of the X sooner, just because keeping it is risky. If you keep it and then no hotspot opens for in the next turn, then what have you accomplished?
I think that's a great piece of analysis there. Yeah, the X, the value of the X is determined by the shape of the board, and Will has the X now, but doesn't seem to have great options. 34 is the best he can get. The board's unlikely to change substantially between this turn and next turn. So if you can't score with it now, you probably can't score with it next turn either. I think I'm with Mina, and I'd prefer to play it off here. Will's looking at a different way to play off the X. He set up Oxic on his rack. This plays in 2 different spots. You can make OD with the blank D playing down to the very bottom row. That spot there is aggressive, opens the board, but scores 34. You can also play it on the other side of action with 3 overlaps, NO, EX, and DI with that blank D. That's 29, but gives back way less to Alec. Both of those are interesting plays, but in my eyes, and of course my eyes are skewed because I have an engine and I'm able to cheat, unlike Will, in my eyes, playing either Xeric or Rorik is a better option than playing Oxic here. I think Will's finally agreed with that. He changes the way he's got his rack set up, now focusing on Rorik instead.
Yeah, I wonder what's going to happen if he does Rorik. Okay, yeah, Rorik's coming down, so I guess we'll find out if that X becomes a liability or not.
There are certainly things that the X can do next turn. While you can't use the X itself to hit the big spot on the right side of HIP, using the X in a word that plays there is still going to be a solid option next turn for you. So I think I like this play. A simulation has Xeric 4 points above Rorik as Will's number 1 play. But Rorik, if it pulls a 5-point challenge, now is definitely the top play.
Of course. Another place to play the X would be down next to the ED of action, so that a 5-letter word that slots the X on that double letter square at the bottom of the board. That could be.
Ooh, yeah, a play like Helix would be a killer there. Yeah. All right. So places for the X, and if nothing else, he sets up the 25-point jettison of just XI alongside Rorik. That's not going away anytime soon. So Rorik, maybe not the top option, but Rorik plus 5, definitely the top option for Will. We don't see Alec lose many challenges. He's got a great grasp of the words. But in 5-point challenge, if you're 90% or less on a word, it generally makes sense to challenge. That's what we saw there. Alec does not lose his turn, and he's got AAGINNO to work his way out of here. I see that and I start thinking, angio, do I have some nice 9s or 10s or medical words? I'm sure you think the same way as a medical doctor yourself.
Yeah.
Alec just sees a lot of points here. Again, is 31, and he wastes no more time before he cashes in a big score out of a dicey rack.
Good. So that kills one of the highest scoring spots remaining on the board.
Kills one of the highest scoring spots on the board, really limits what Will can do here. And now, as Mina pointed out last turn, the big spot for the X is playing alongside the side of action, reaching down to that double letter square in the bottom row. Ibex, IBEX, does that for Will. 44 points, holds VLS. It is kind of scary to put that X in that triple line. Probably not going to get triple, but you're seeding 30 or 40 to Alec a lot. I'm more worried about the parallel play to the left side of Ibex 2. An A or an O for Alec would mean he can stack next to this for a mammoth score and shut down the board. But there's not much else for Will to do on this turn. He can play Ibex further up to avoid stringing the X all the way down, still playing alongside action, but with 3 overlaps. It's a 10-point sacrifice to play some defense. The word Silvex, Silvex, is 41 if he plays it to the right side of his loin, reaching down and hitting the X on the triple letter square. Mina, do you think you play equity here, drop Ibex down, or are you thinking a little bit more defensive here?
No, I like the equity play here, Ibex. I mean, there's no way I would want to burn the S on a sexy X play here. I'd want to keep the S, and I don't think VLS is terrible because you have the E of Ibex that you would be opening up. So yeah, I would just play Ibex and not worry about this too much further.
I wish I could not worry so much. Anxiety is something we struggle with, and Scrabble is certainly an anxiety-inducing game. It's always hard to roll the dice and take that gamble. But Mina's exactly right. And running it through the engine, Ibex is easily the best play for Will here. It's hard to pull the trigger on it, but sometimes you just have to roll the dice and do what you think is best and hope you don't get hit back too hard.
I mean, you got to remember there's dangers elsewhere. What if Conquest comes down through that Q at the top? You know, Conquest conquers. you can't play scared, basically.
Mina, describing what Scrabble feels like in my head when I play. Oh my God, what if he has Conquest right now and I don't want it? Oh my God, what if I give him a triple through the X? Oh no, everything is really scary. And this is why I sit in the commentary booth now. He feels way better.
Oh, no.
So the X exposed in the triple line will not seed a triple, but will seed a big score. Hoaxed or its anagram Oxhead both play for 51 down there. And Alec goes ahead and drops the hammer. Hoaxed for 51 indeed comes down. That puts Alec ahead by 9, 217 to 208. This is going to be a good game. We're neck and neck right now, and I hope that doesn't change anytime soon. Will on EKLSSVZ has to keep pace with Alec. He will take the lead back on this turn, but he's got to optimize these goodies as best as possible. 2 S's and a Z means you're going to do very well, but how many of these do you catch in? A number of very nice plays here for Will. ZEKS and RYAS is 44, holds that VLS combination again. SEZ and ZE down from the center top triple word score is 47, but holds KLSV. You can also play just Zek for 42 on the left side of Rorik. That holds LSSV. These are really awesome options, and I don't know which one is best. Do you have an initial gut reaction to those plays here, Mina?
Yeah, I think given that those are all high scoring, I go for the one with the best lead, Zex, and it looks like Will agrees. Because, yeah, I mean, I would want to clean up the rack as much as possible and not keep back a double S to hold me down for the next turn. So Zex making Ryas would make sense to me.
Yeah, Zex making Ryas feels very strong. If you're Will in this situation with 2 S's, you want to look around on the board as well. Like playing 1 feels a little bit weird. But the S doesn't have a ton of value on this board compared to other boards. So I think playing 1 here is absolutely defensible, especially if you can score 44 points for it. Will's not going to think any harder. He's going to make what we think is his top option. Well done, Will. Solid performance there. 252 to 217 now the score. And Alex setting up a nice little message for us as he plays Wanderer 15. F Wander. Got an F in the chat. I love that. ADEFNRW or F wander the rack, and we're quickly exhausting the hotspots that were open on the board. And I think the last big hotspot on this board about to be claimed by Alec. That hotspot is taking the little 4-letter sequence down from the top double letter score in the top right of this board and back hooking SHA. The word FAWN plays right there, making SHAN for 42, holding DER. The word FAW plays for 38, holding DENR. Nice plays there for Alec, but he's taken the points, the highest scoring option. I think this is another big fat thumbs up from us in the commentary booth. What do you think, Mina?
No, for sure. That's great. And yeah, I mean, I think you're right that that's the last kind of high point. Yeah, I always find, for me, like as we get into the second half of the game, like it's hard as the board gets filled up, and I often get frustrated later in the game because nice racks no longer have a place to play, things are closing up, and yeah, I mean it happens more in TWL than in CSW, but even in CSW games, you can that frustration can set in as there's fewer places to play, fewer places to cash in on that S and so forth.
All right, so Will with a rather yucky rack, ILLPSUV, and chat pointing out to us that that's actually an unplayable 7-letter bingo of Pulvils, PULVILS. I would never have even stopped to look for a bingo there. That's impressive stuff, chat. But without a playable bingo for Will, this turn becomes a big one for him. He has one option that, to me, looks way better than anything else. It requires Will to pull the trigger on a word that feels a little weird. That play is through the F in fawn, upfill, UPFILL. Scrabble is full of these weird words where you put up before or behind a word. And it just looks like one of those words you might make up. But it is such a wonderful play. 33 points. Get rid of the I, the U, the double L's all at once. Keep the S. Easily Will's best option if he's able to pull the trigger here.
For sure.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. It's an uphill battle to find upfill.
I love that. Nice. Upfill has another nice little merit that it retains the V to front hook Ibex, making Vibex. And that's a spot, as this board starts to dry up, that could have more and more importance. Good job, Will. This is a hard play to make, but Will has been so good when I've gotten to watch him on stream the last few events and showing that precision once again. Upfill is a play that I don't think a lot of people make in this situation. Upfill +5 as well. A second word of Will's challenged by Alec. That's going to bring Will to 290 to Alec's 259.
Cool. I think I do commend Alec for being ready to challenge, because I think people get phonies by me often when they're not bingos. Like I'll sometimes have the thought, oh, I don't know that, but it's not 70 points, so but that it can make a big difference in the end. If you let a 30-point, 40-point phony by, that can kill you in the end. So it's good on Alec to challenge those.
I think there's a little bit too much trying to save face, trying to hold on to pride and Scrabble. Oh yeah, I knew that word. Like if the stakes are low in 5 points, I'd be up at the challenge computer 4 or 5 times a game. If you play anything that looks weird, I'm going to challenge it, because you're right. Letting a phony by is such a big swing in a game. If you can make your opponent lose a whole turn, that's a big swing. I'll give you 5 points any day of the week if you can play a word I've never seen before. But if I can knock off even one phony, I still come out ahead on that exchange. Alec dropping down a baby bingo quickly, N-armed or amender. It's anagram, his highest scoring options in that spot. Alec opting to play the one with no hooks as he pulls ahead by 44 points, and that is reasonable. Will, after his nice upfill play, draws WAFTS into his SV combination and faces another tough turn here. AFSSTVW. Will not be able to keep pace with Alec. You will not be able to reclaim the lead in a game that's had so many lead changes already. But he can pull himself close within striking distance. Just VAW, playing to the right side of Zex, is 33. FSST is a little bit unstable as a leave, but with the Val heavy bag, it's not the worst. Favest, Favest, plays through the E in Enarmed. It gives away one of his two S's and kind of sort of telegraphs he's got another one, but that's 32 points and holds SW there, or SW. So Va for 33, Favist for 32. Do you have a preference on a line of approach for Will here, Mina?
Between those, I like Favist. The chat is suggesting WADTS. I'm looking for where that plays. Where does that go? WADTS.
WADTS? I don't see that anywhere. Oh, WADTS through the D and Enarmed?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that ugly. Yeah, I see. Ugly leave. I don't like that. Yeah, I don't like keeping. Yeah, I see. Yeah, through the D and an arm, but keeping the FV together seems really ugly. I like Favest the best. Break up that double S, slots the F on the double letter. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I do like Favest a little better than Va, just leave wise.
Yeah, I think the FVW combination is really going to limit your options to bingo next turn if you keep any two of those three letters. So WADTS holding the VF combination, your bingo percentage drops sub 5% next turn. If I had to guess, you always want to try to keep your rack in bingo range if possible. And it is possible on this turn. So WADTS is definitely a play I would forego here. You've got to play off at least two of these three clunky consonants, Va or Favist, both really nice options here for Will. But he's going to opt for Va. I think I would too. Those S's on this board, I think you can set yourself up for them next turn. Be patient. There's still time, Will. I think this is a good decision here.
Okay.
EJLMRUV, the rack for Alec. He leads this game by 11 points. JUVE plays to the E in action, using his V to front hook Ibex, as I mentioned Will could do. Yeah. 31 points there, playing off just JUV. If you can score 31 and play JUV, it's hard to pass that up. No. One candidate play might be worth considering passing that up, though. That is Jurel, Jurel, playing through the E in Enarmed for 40 points. This is a big decision for Alec. He sees two unseen S's and an unseen blank. Jurel would put out a big S hook, and I think he feels probably better than 50% to win this game. You don't want to set up that S hook if you're not holding on to an S here. Right. So I think Jurel is a play Alec is going to pass up. If he sees Juve and Vibex, to me, this is a no-brainer. That's what you play.
I totally agree with that, Matt. I mean, that defense, like not offering an S hook when you don't have it, makes sense. I think that it might be hard to find that Vibex if you hadn't been keeping it in mind throughout the game. And I just want to mention here that one thing I do when I have extra time and the board is facing away from me is to look at everything on the board and look for hooks. I guess I'll throw that out there as a strategy tip, is when you have downtime, look for those hooks ahead of time and then store them away for when they do come up. Even before you get the V, be thinking, okay, if I had a V, I could play it there. Because I think trying to find that on the spot now is a little more challenging.
Alec is so good at play finding, but Scrabble is a game where the randomness is determined by the bag. These are not puzzles made by humans. These are puzzles made by the divines. You will never see the same board twice, the same position twice, and you've just got to find whatever options exist. Juve is sneaky, but Alec, certainly the caliber of player who can find a play like this. But if he misses, it's going to be a big miss and potentially a costly one.
Agreed. He's not giving us any insight into what he's thinking. He's not moving around those letters.
Yeah, it's all fun and games, and we're going to troll chat, and then I draw a really hard rack, and it's like, oh, God, now I got to focus really hard. Oh, man, I just wanted to smile and vibe in a, mess with my friends on the other side of the stream, but this is a really tough turn and a really important turn for Alec. You can see he's taking his time, and he absolutely should here.
Oh. Oh no. Ouch.
So JEU going to be the play here from Alec. This holds LMRV, but I think he sees I can't play Jarell. I can't open that S spot. And if you miss Juve here,
Sure.
there's not much else to do. The turn becomes much more challenging. So an interesting decision here. JEU obstruct the floaters, try to control this board a little bit, but he's going to find GOT and have a tough turn next turn. Big swing there, big miss from Alec. When we don't see, we see him play so technically, so correctly, so often.
Sure. Yeah, well.
Will, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying that. Yeah, that goes back to sort of looking at those hooks ahead of time, and also it's hard to find it. It's also hard because there's no premium squares there in that area with Jew and Vibex. So it's sort of one of the last places you look if you hadn't noticed the hook. And yeah, I mean, he's totally right to keep the board closed, but that leave is going to hurt him. I'm anxious to see what happens.
That does not look like a line you want to play in. It literally no premium squares at all. You would not suspect that 30 plus points are hiding on a little 3-time play. That's an easy to miss. But Alec did indeed miss it. I think we've seen just such a perfect technical game from both of these players. And there's a small miss. We'll see if that ends up being the difference in this one. The small miss, the 10 extra points for Will on 2 challenges. Maybe that'll be it. But Alec's still in a good position here. He leads 371 to 323. Will does not have any playable bingos on this turn, and he has a challenging situation here instead. AEEFSST, the rack for Will. Fades, FADES, through the D in armed is 34 points. Keeps a nice balanced EST leave. But a leave like EST is good on a board with lines to bingo through. And after fades, Will be able to bingo down to the S in fades and potentially through the R in Diuron. But I do think Will's doing the right thing here, playing much longer and just trying to score some points right now. This also sets up his other F, ERF. Oh, no, it doesn't. ERF has no back hooks.
Oh, it doesn't? It's like S. Oh, see, I didn't know that. Ouch. Okay.
The plural of ERF is ERVEN, and that is the only plural. So, this is a tough turn for Will. He's opting to play Fetas here. I thought this set up the S. It does not.
Yeah, I thought it set up the S. Oof. Interesting.
Trying to say some nice things, but it's not there. Oh well. All right, Alec with another opportunity to try to spot the Vibex plays in that sneaky little line. Grovel, Glover, Gravit, each play for 27 if he spots the Vibex hook that he missed last turn on this turn. Outside of that, another tricky turn here for Alec that we're going to probably just see him play Vlog in the top left corner, making ORE and GOR. But if he sees the Vibex plays, they're probably the play he wants to make here. I don't think I'd put the G in the triple line, though. I think I'd play something like Mover instead. Still score points, but avoid exposing a floater if I don't have to.
Right. Yeah, Vlog seems pretty quickly the right play. Looks like he's counting here.
Will has pulled into Egotist as well. That's not going to fit on this board, at least not right now, but depending on what Alec does, maybe it fits. I'm not seeing anything Alec can do that would seed a bingo back to Will, and I don't expect to see him open this board with that unseen pool, but I had been surprised before. So it looks like he has set up MOVR, spotting Vibex. Maybe he saw it last turn and felt like I can play JEU and then I can play my V next turn for 30 and I can just kind of hang on and win in this game. Potentially the tactics there. Maybe it wasn't a miss of Juve. Maybe it was an intentional pass as now he can catch the spot. He's aware of it this turn for sure.
Right. If so, it's dangerous. I mean, he kept 4 consonants, so Yeah, I mean, but I guess there are, well, the bag's somewhat ball heavy. So there, yeah. I mean, it's a risky thing to do, but it makes sense that he would want to close off the floaters and arm to first.
One other good option here for Alec is the 5-letter GROMA down to the A in hoaxed with 3 overlaps. It does retain the V, but the V is a great tile for Alec to be sitting on in this situation. He's got a small lead. There's an unseen blank and S. I need the best blocking tile in the game. I feel like if Will's not able to score very well next turn, then he's going to try to set up a line. I want to hold on to a V to thwart that line. The V is one of my favorite tiles in Scrabble. It's a crappy tile in most situations, but a superb worker. And maybe you want to hold on to it. Groma looks better and better to me the longer I look at it.
Interesting.
Eight tiles in the bag from Alec's perspective, and he also wants to be thinking about pacing in this game. He doesn't just need to think about the possibility of Will bingoing in this game to win. He might still get outrun with the inflexibility on his rack and a weird-looking pool unseen. If Alec ends up picking 3 of those I's or 3 of those T's, he's probably going to lose this game. And Alec probably doesn't want to hold on to his T, knowing up to 3 more might be coming his way. So Alec definitely needs to adjust his decision-making based on what's unseen here. It's a really tricky and really important turn for Alec.
What do you think Will is thinking about while Alec is taking extra time here with that unplayable egotist?
Just gotta hope that you get a spot for egotist, and that's not going to happen here. Alec's not going to open the board. I like what Alec has opted to do here. I just emphasize the importance of getting rid of at least 1 T, knowing 3 more are coming.
Yeah.
So not playing Grover or Glover, playing overt, getting rid of a T. Good decision here.
Very.
All right, so the play from Alec gives him a 396 to 357 lead. Will facing down a 39-point deficit, looking at the bag, seeing there is still an unseen blank. Will's got to pray that that blank is in the bag right now and not on Alec's rack. And Alec hasn't found it either. The blank, one of the 4 tiles left in the bag for Will, though Alec has found mailing on his rack. I don't think any bingos fit for him now, but Will's going to be looking to open this board. And depending on how he opts to open it, Alec may just hit him back with the bingo and end this game. Another crucial turn in what's been a really exciting game so far. Will does not want to empty the bag here. He does not want to play 4 tiles. It puts Alec in a much bigger bind if Will is able to create some fog of war, make Alec guess what Will's rack is. If Will plays 4 tiles, Alec can do his tracking, figure out exactly what Will's rack is, and block the most appropriate lines to block. So Will needs to play 2 or 3 tiles here. The play of GOAT, beneath up fill, looks like an equity play. EIST, 22 points, leave 1 in the bag. Like, it checks a lot of the boxes, but Will probably wants to create additional bingo lines here. He's got to be looking at the disconnected RT in the middle of the board as 1 line, bingoing down to the H in hoaxed, bingoing down from the L in upfill, and he likely wants to set up another bingo line on this turn. A play like this does exactly that. Everything Will needs to do. I like this from Will.
Yeah. Yeah, it's scary. It's scary what he did here, but you kind of have to, because it's going to be you need places to play 7s. I mean, it's just going to be so hard to find an 8 from an L and upfill or an 8 down to the H and hoax.
Will drawing 2 of the 4 tiles, 50% chance he draws the blank. If he does, I think he wins the game.
He does not.
Wow.
Now what to do? Yeah, it's yeah, this is a very tricky situation here.
Will has found a bingo. Botties, Botties, is good. And I mean, Alec has to look at that dag spot and feel like it's the most threatening spot for Will. Look at the unseen pool from Alec, BEIOSTTT blank. So like in most instances, Will has bodies.
Yeah.
You know, like unless Will has all three of the T's, he can have it as a natural, he can have it with the blank, but Botties, Botties, is a huge likelihood for Will in this situation. So that's the one that you need to block
For sure.
in this instance. Now, because 2 tiles are in the bag, Alec can just drop 1 tile here. And I don't know if that's the correct approach, but he could, avoid losing to an out bingo by plinking 1, just dropping SOM or something like that. But then that gives Will 1 more opportunity to fish to create another line. And I don't know if you want to give Will that opportunity. But I don't see a way to block the DAGS spot effectively by playing more than 1 tile. I have no idea what Alec's supposed to do here.
Yeah, agreed. Because ERF and UME don't take back hooks. Yeah, I don't see anything else. You have to block that spot, and the only I agree. The only way I see to block it is to play in the lower right corner, 1 letter.
If he is going to drop just 1 letter there, he'll also have to figure out if he drops the M or the G. We saw Mac Miller in a game yesterday do a 1-tile fish into AIILMN, and apparently that bingoes with a ton of stuff. So that's actually Limina is a reasonable leave. It looks like he does just want to fish the G. That's exactly what he does. And Botties taken away from Will. Though after that play from Alec, can Will infer that the blank was still in the bag? Will Alec draw the blank here? Whoa. Yes, I can't. I can't see the.
Yeah, Alec just drew the blank. Yeah.
All right, so Will on a 50% chance to draw the blank misses. Alec on a 50% chance to draw the blank hits, and Alec likely going to hang on and win this game. I presume Will knows ERF doesn't take an S. These players are both so good, they both got to know that. And I feel like Will's going to take a shot, pray that the blank is in the bag, and then see an out bingo instead.
Hmm.
4 minutes for Will to figure this one out, and he's going to be looking at 1-tile fishes that might pull different stuff. I think we may see him play just BI to the I in Rorik, hold EIOSTT, and hope that he draws a bingo that plays with OBI next turn. I guess he would need to draw the blank for that sequence to work. If the blank is on Alec's rack, he's probably just dead anyway. But it's a 1 in 8 shot as far as I see right now. It's better than a 0% chance.
Yeah. That looks like the best bet. BI.
This is a really tough turn. Will's got 3 minutes to figure it out, but BI and Pray, I think, is the best option here. If Will plays that, Alec is able to bingo back, as Alec has a bingo with a blank O on his rack. That'd be the 7-letter Monilia. So BI, a good way to take a final shot in this game. It's going to end up costing Will about 80 spread points if he pulls the trigger because of what's on Alec's rack. But I think it's the best sequence here. Sometimes the best sequence ends up blowing up in your face. Yeah, Alec does not have any playable bingos right now, but we expect Will, with this small deficit, to try to open the board in most instances. I don't think Will can just play long, hope to draw the blank, and go out next turn either. I think he's going to need a bonus at this point to win. Will comes to the same conclusion, drops the B. He's hoping to reach into the bag and draw the blank. Instead, he's going to reach in and grab a T, as Alec already bingoing out with Monilia. And that's how this one ends. A back and forwards game that's going to end with a rather lopsided score after it's all said and done. But the score not an indicator of how close this game was the entire time.
Yeah.
With this, and then the 14 points from from Will's rack, Alec's going to win this game 500 to 385.
Wow.
This was a good one.
Yeah, that was a really good matchup. And you're right. Looking at that score does not indicate how close it was the whole time and all the interesting decisions and risks that went into this.
Let's cut to overhead and see what we get from these players.
It doesn't take a okay because I had bodies. BOTTIES.
Yeah, 500.
Yep, even 500. 375.
Yep.
For me. All right, good game.
Yeah, I drew the blank after this.
I figured. That's why I felt like this had like a 50% chance to win, because I feel like you could do better than that if you had the blank. Like you probably just whip me in that spot and it's maybe okay. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe you play that anyway. But I felt like there was a chance that you did not have the blank, and there was 50-50 that I would get it. But yeah, oh well. Nice.
Will reading that position perfectly. Yeah. I feel like if you had the blank, you wouldn't just plink the G. So I felt like BI wins 1 in 2 chances. Will was exactly right, but the coin flip did not go his way on this one. And he ends up dropping the game by 115 in a game that up until the last turn, he felt he was 50-50 to win. Oh man, that was really cool. That was a really cool game.
Yeah, that was interesting for sure. And I mean, it hurts Will because he was already a game behind Alec in the standings, so he probably would have really benefited from the momentum of being able to win that one.
But momentum very much behind Alec Sjoholm. He's been playing very well all tournament and putting up some great results. Another big win for him in a tight and talented CSW field. The victory accelerates Alec to 11-4. He's that half game behind Wasim, pending the outcome of that one. And the loss for Will drops him to 9-6. But it's still a very long tournament, and all you got to do is be in the top 2 after 28 games to make it to the best of 5 final matchup.
Yeah.
We are going to take a short break.